Alice is a 51-year-old woman who has multiple sclerosis. She has had several falls recently and demonstrates decreased fine and gross motor control. She has decreased sensation in her hands and decreased active range of motion in both shoulders. She walks with loft-strand crutches and demonstrates difficulty in her gait as she lacks ankle dorsiflexion. She moves at a slow pace and often performs transfers in an unsafe manner. She has poor dynamic standing balance even with use of her crutches. She wants to go back to school but is unsure of if she will be able to successfully access the buildings independently. She set up a tour with a Dominican College staff member and an occupational therapist to view several buildings at Dominican College, including the library, to determine if they are accessible and what accommodations she may need if they are not.
Hi, Alice.
Hello.
I'm glad you found the handicap parking. So we're going to go this way to meet our tour guide, Victoria.
Great.
We're going to be looking at the library today of Dominican.
Perfect, because I want to come back to school, so I need to know how to use this building.
Yes, definitely. This will be very important. So we're going to meet her right up here at the corner.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Hello.
you must be Alice. I'm
am.
Victoria.
Nice to
meet you. So just so you know, I know that you probably came up the curb here.
Yeah, that was a challenge.
Yeah, so actually around this area over here, we do actually have a little divot where the curb does go down and meet the pavement.
Oh, perfect.
But you would just have to walk around.
Oh, okay.
So next time, maybe if someone was dropping you off, they could drop you off there so you don't have to go up
That
the
would be
curb.
really helpful.
Just so you guys know, this is kind of a far walk. It's about 160 feet from that last handicap accessible spot. And unfortunately, there are no benches along the way to sit down if you do fatigue.
It seems a little uneven up here. I don't know.
This pavement coming up, the college did put it in because it is a little bit more decorative. So it's kind of like aesthetically pleasing. But they are kind of like small square pavement blocks, so it is a little bit uneven here. So we do have a ramp for you to access instead of using the stairs. Just be careful because it does rise up a little bit. The pavement's a little uneven.
Okay. That's fine.
And over here it kind of dips down, so just be careful.
All right, good job. Victoria, I'm surprised there is not a railing on this ramp.
Yeah, there's no railing as of right now.
Okay, do you know, do they have any plans to put in one? I feel like that's a major safety hazard for...
Not that I know of, but I can put you in contact with someone to talk to about getting one.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, good.
And it is a handicap accessible door.
Great.
Okay, Alice, so we're gonna go into the main Houston room now. This is a pretty wide door. It's about 58 inches, but you will need somebody with you to open it because it is pretty heavy, but fortunately there is someone always at the circulation desk who can help you out.
Great.
So we do have some large tables here for you to study at, but you do just have to be careful because as you can see, the corners are really sharp. And just as the chairs over there, these are also on wheels. So you do have to be careful sitting in them. The one good thing about this table though is that it does have an outlet wand that's right in the center of the table. So you actually don't need to bend down to plug anything in. As we walk throughout these rows, you can see that there are desks and chairs. So if you do become fatigued, you can take a break and sit down. So the only thing that I can foresee being a problem is that these shelves are pretty high. This is about 72 inches off the ground, so you might have trouble reaching them. So there's 3 emergency exits in this room. One of them is back here.
Okay. Is that chair always there?
Typically yes, but the good thing is that this is not bolted down, so we could move this.
Okay.
So the emergency exit, one of them is right here. It is a push to exit, so it is an automatic door.
Okay, and there is no ramp to get out of this emergency exit?
Unfortunately, there's no ramp on this exit or either of the other 2 exits. Okay, so the bathroom is right near the Houston room and right near the entrance.
Okay.
So you can see the signs pretty visible. The door though is a little bit heavy.
Is it like the Houston room?
I think it's actually a little heavier in my opinion. And just watch the threshold there. See, it's a pretty big rise.
Okay.
But the good news is that the lights are automatic.
Oh,
Oh, that is
Perfect.
helpful.
Yeah. And then you can see we have the handicap stall right there if you want to go check it out.
Yeah. What I'm seeing is the grab bar, the placement doesn't look right. From what I understand, ADA standards, this has to come over this way, from the center of the toilet. Is there anything we could do about that?
I can contact maintenance and see, you know, if
Okay.
we can get something done.
Okay, I'm just nervous for stabilizing purposes. If she's feeling fatigued when she gets to the toilet, if she can even get into the stall, that might take a lot of energy just to really ensure safety to avoid falling.
Understandable.
And I also see that the toilet paper, she's going to have to reach, and Alice is a little bit unstable, especially after a long day. Okay, so I'm still running through all these ADA standards in my head. From what I'm seeing, these mirrors, they seem to be too high. And this paper towel holder, this also seems to be too high. I'm not sure if Alice could reach up for this due to her limited range of motion in her shoulder. But the sinks, they're a good height. They do have underneath, so for any chance she was using a wheelchair that day for fatigue or anything. And these are lever handles, which is great, but they are not labeled.
Okay, so now we're on our way to the Learning Commons. So the Houston room is the quiet study room that you can use here at the library. And the Learning Commons is really great for group study. You're allowed to talk back there. There's also 2 group study rooms there as well.
Okay, great. This hallway seems very long. What chances that she will need to use the Learning Commons?
The chances are pretty high because unfortunately all the other rooms that are up here are quiet study rooms, so you can't use them for group study. So if you do have group projects in the OT program, you might have to meet your group in the Learning Commons and use the study rooms. This hallway is actually 95 feet, and I'm about to take you into another hallway to the Learning Commons, which is 128 feet.
Okay, and there's nowhere to rest throughout this hallway. What about in the other?
Throughout this hallway, no. In the other hallway, there is a periodicals room that does have chairs in it as well, but I know that you were a little bit concerned about the swivel chairs on wheels, and that's the chairs that are available in that room. Okay, Alice, so this is the door to the Learning Commons, and just important to note too, there's signs all throughout the library that tell you where things are, so like group study, computers, there's printer back there, study rooms.
Okay, I have to open this door by myself in order to get back there. There's no other way.
If you are by yourself, then yeah, you will have to open it.
Is this door just as heavy as the others?
Yes.
And there's no push button.
There's no push button. Okay, so this is the Learning Commons, and this door is held open all the time by a rubber stopper. So this door, you won't have to open.
Great, maybe we could try to get these for all of the doors?
Yeah,
That
we
would
can
be-
certainly
that would be
try.
Wonderful.
And I just want to point out too, right now one of our librarians is at a conference, but typically she's always here, and this is her office. Her door is always open.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
you can always ask for help.
So there's staff members at both ends of the building?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And there are these chairs here too, right when you come in. So if you do become fatigued and need a break, you can sit right here.
Great.
So this is one of the group study rooms that I was telling you about that you can reserve to work with your group. The doors are normally open to this when they're not in use, which is great. But if they were closed, these doors are a lot lighter than the other ones that I was showing you.
And they have these lever handles. Those really help.
And the lights are also automatic in these rooms as well. So when you walk in, they'll turn on.
Oh, great.
The lights in this room are also automatic.
Great.
The only thing is they do shut off after 25 minutes. And if you are in the back of the room, like working on the computers back there or sitting at those tables because the chairs are a little bit more stable, the lights may go off even if you are moving because the sensor is not that sensitive. And to turn them back on, you do have to actually walk towards the sensor.
So I just wanted to meet today to go over the recommendations and recap everything that we talked about with Alice last week. I know she really wants to come to Dominican. She's very concerned though about the accessibility in this library, so maybe we could just discuss a couple of options.
Yeah, I did write down some stuff. I know that we were talking about the emergency exits. The fact that there's no ramp there is kind of a hazard. And I know that we also spoke about the fact that there's really no automatic doors in the library, and so she'd really just have to open
Right, and
every
that'll be
single
hard
door.
because she does really like to be independent. She likes to do things alone, and coming to the library is something that she doesn't want to have to bother anybody with to come with her if she just needs to study alone.
Right, and I know too, she was having a lot of fatigue during the tour,
Yes.
and she did mention that she would like to have some seating in the
Yes.
long hallways that we
And
have
just
here.
thinking long term for her as her diagnosis progresses, that would really be become quite an issue.
Right. And I know in the bathroom as well, you were mentioning the fact that an automatic toilet would probably help her. I emailed maintenance to see if we can fix those grab bars.
Okay.
Automatic paper towel holder, I know you mentioned as well.
Okay.
Another thing that I know we mentioned too was outside in terms of the ramp, that there was no rail on that as well.
Right.
And I know as well out there with the benches too, that is a far walk
Yes.
from the handicap spots. So, and there are no benches for her to sit. So
Yes.
I'm definitely looking into that.
Okay.
And I'm also looking into paving in a way that's not as decorative, I guess. So it's not going to be like little small pavement blocks.
Just
I'm
some
gonna
smooth cement would be
I'm
perfect.
gonna see if the school can do that.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Thank
And
you.
even it out too in front of that
Okay.
ramp.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over everything just to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
This would be a major structural change to the bathroom. So when we walked in, Alice had a very hard time maneuvering her way when the door was open. It's, I don't believe, ADA standards, and any person with a disability really would not be able to get into that stall well. Is there anything that we could do to move the stall, move the doors, anything like that?
That is a bigger structural change, so that would be something that the college would have to consider that I can bring up to them.
Okay.
But it would be, something that would be more long term.
Right. All right. Thank you.